Let's bring in strategists from both sides of the political spectrum. Republican strategist Eric Beach and Democratic analyst Cathy Areu. And by the way, both of you, he brought up tax reform multiple times. I immediately wrote what the Dow was doing at that point. It was down 110. Then it went down about 99. Now it's down 105. So, Cathy, I look at that and I think to myself, well, maybe it isn't the fact that Steven Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, said we're not going to get tax reform soon enough that's affecting the markets, because we're still down about 100 points.
I know. I mean, we don't know whether we should believe him or not. We need the tax reform, and that's what we're waiting for. But he's so busy distracting, and no one understands if this executive order is actually going to create more American jobs. An expert I talked to said that the economy dictates these things, not a PR campaign and not an executive order. So only time will tell, and only time will tell if that tax reform will happen. So I'm not sure, and the experts aren't sure if this executive order means anything.
But, well, Eric, the message was very welcome in a state like Wisconsin, which he won quite soundly. What jumped out at you in this speech, aside from the very supportive, we want more products stamped with those wonderful words? He says he'll enforce Buy American rules and enforce Hire American rules, but will Congress agree to that?
I thought it was one of the best speeches he's given as President of the United States. You know, Buy American, Hire American is more than a slogan. It really represents why Donald Trump won this election in the first place, and it's really to represent the American worker. You talked about the Dow. You know, it's still up 2,000 points since November 8th. There's a culture of confidence in the United States, and really it starts with, you know, CEOs making sure they want to hire American workers. He talked about the H-1B visa program, which is a great program, but it's a random program. It's a lottery. Why not pick the best and brightest and the most skilled workers? He talked about vocational schools, making sure that we are able to educate our workers to become, or our students to become welders and mechanics and things of that nature that pay American jobs. So he continues to talk about that culture, and I thought it was a great speech.
I want to bring in Charlie Gasparino, who just joined us on the set. And Charlie, you have a reason you think the market didn't suddenly turn green.
Yeah, listen, he said some good things. I should point out, my dad put me through college, put my brother through college from a vocational school education, Samuel Gompers High School in the Bronx. It's an old-time vocational school. So he makes a lot of good points. But here's where I think he kind of spooked the market a bit. He started talking about tax reform. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. I'm paraphrasing. But then he said this. He said, in order to get, he said, we're going to pass health care reform. That's important. If we can pass health care reform, tax reform will be bigger and steeper. So what he's essentially saying is the expectations that I built in during the election, 20% corporate tax cut, taking down the 7 rates and squeezing it to 3. Well, guess what? If we don't get health care reform, that ain't happening. And so that's why you saw the markets turn sideways and everything.
Cathy?
Right.
He also talked about H-1B visas. He and Eric just touched upon that. But he said that often they will hire foreigners and pay them less. However, you know, we did some research. We looked at companies that use a lot of H-1B visas, workers, and IBM, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Intel, between them, multiple thousands and thousands of workers. That brings up the question, they're making more than 6 figures at this point.
Yeah, we need the H-1B visas because, as he mentioned, we do need people with technology backgrounds, and we don't have those vocational schools right now in the United States. We don't have people that are learning the skills that are needed. 80% of the millions of jobs that have been lost in manufacturing has been to automation and technology, has not been to the foreign worker. So when he did mention vocational schools and training, I was very happy with that, because that is what's actually needed, not Buy American first, employees should be American. That's not the message. We have to train our American employees and workers so that they could fill these 1.4 million jobs that we will have in 2020 that we cannot fill at the moment with our current workforce.
Eric, I would think that people at perhaps Facebook or some of the Silicon Valley companies might take umbrage at one of the things he said, and that was, quote, no one can compete with American workers, and that's why he wants to really clamp down on H-1B visas. But our K through 8 and then high schools are not teaching coding properly. They're not teaching software engineering, and that's where the Chinese, India, they beat us on this.
Sure, and he also combined it by saying we lost 70,000 jobs, you know, since China joined the World Trade Organization. You know, again, I think he's talking about the opportunity that exists, both in terms of technology, but also really the blue-collar jobs all across America. And you have to build that culture of confidence that I mentioned earlier, not just that CEOs will hire them, but that our people are being educated K through 8 and in high school to be able to do those types of jobs. So I think it was a great speech. I think he focused on all the right points. And again, it's not just a symbol to say hire America, great America. We are the best and the brightest, and we should be able to bring that together and make sure that our workers are being trained properly.
Eric, Cathy, thank you.